Okay. Breathe. Breathe. Hey everyone, the name is Seal64 and welcome to Pokken Roster Analysis Wish Roster Thing 2.5 because I never got around to talking about the other editions, though I will cover everything that's happened since last time to now. So why don't we get cracking? Before we get to the new fighters, I'd like to say, 1, I don't have as much faith in the roster size anymore, so some Pokemon don't entirely see happening. Mostly roster filler, and I'll be honest, I'm just too lazy to redesign it. Number 2, by the end of the updates, there are going to be quite some changes to the roster as to who I think may come along. Who those are? Well, you're gonna have to watch the whole thing to find out. Anyway, number 1, we have Weavile, who, dear God, looks amazing! To think he was going to be on here, but I decided against it because he's not popular. Yeah, screw that, he looks like so much fun now! Certainly one I'm going to use, and his replacement was easy, as while I do really like Absol, it was truthfully just a dark type filler, and I personally do not really like Pangoro. But now we have a Dark Ice representative to handle that just fine, which I gladly welcome to the game. Number 2, I have some apologies to make, cause the good old Gym Winner mascot Charizard has made it into yet another fighting game after all. But I have no qualms with this. He looks like he'll be much more viable than his Smash counterpart. Now, his replacement was initially going to be Blaziken, since she was only confirmed by a screenshot at the very beginning of the game announcement, and hadn't been seen since. But spoiler alert, we officially have the Hoenn Firestarter up here so let's take out Blastoise. Don't worry, I'll explain my water starter ideas later. Number 3 is quite a funny case. By the time we had the previous 2 newcomers, I was going to remove Chestnut for obvious reasons, and bring in Sceptile since he didn't make it into Smash after all, but still deserves some sort of placement as a physical fighter. Surprise, surprise, guess who we have now? And yet another that looks like something I would take immense satisfaction in using somewhere in my top 5 now. The replacement has already been covered, so why don't we boot out the Gen 6 Grass Tank for something we can agree to be much better. Number 4 and 5, I'll cover a bit later, and you'll understand why when I get there. 6 on the other hand, oh boy, number 6. If you follow me on Twitter and were up rather late this morning, you would know I literally screamed when I saw this one. The one and only, my favorite fire type, and second favorite Pokemon in the entire series, Braixen! We haven't even seen Braixen in action yet, and I know for a fact that this is going to be my main. Though I never expected to see her, she is practically my Pokken version of Robin right now. Some of you may remember before Greninja came along, or who just watched my Kirby 64 series, I wanted to see Serena replace Red because, quote unquote, Greninja and Braixen were born to fight. Just when they figure something out. And obviously they didn't after alternate forms were terminated. Braixen still gets to fight now! I'm tearing up just thinking about this. I can't express how wide open my arms are for my favorite magical Firefox. Now her replacement? We'll get to that soon. First, I'd like to talk about the final newcomers so far at number 7 and 8, being Garchomp and Mewtwo, who, as you can see, I already wanted. I can't compare my excitement to Braixen, but I'm still really happy to see them confirmed. You can watch my first video if you want to hear my thoughts and ideas on why I wanted them in, and once again, we haven't really seen them in action, so I can't say too much about how they look. Well, maybe I can a bit. Back to number 4 and 5, we have the alternate forms being Libre Pikachu and Shadow Mewtwo. I can't say I'm indifferent, but I'm also not gonna write home about it either. It's just cool to have other forms and some spin on the pokes we have now, especially Shadow Mewtwo since we haven't even seen the standard yet. But it's Mewtwo. He's already gonna be amazing. But because they're already fighters, I figure just adding this little button under their portraits is fine to switch between which one you want to use before the match. I forgot to add that Fire Emblem card. I will add those buttons at the end. Oi, with that, every confirmed newcomer should be covered. Now for some changes of my own, eh? First things first. So far, we've still no representation of the Hitmon trio, and I'm starting to lose faith. I don't particularly want to see them anyway, so why don't we bring along a couple new additions? Lopunny, Excadrill, and of course, Braixen. With Lopunny having the fighting type added when she Mega Evolves, and her recent upcomings with the competitive scene bringing her to OU, Lopunny seems rather viable and quite possibly rather fun to use. Excadrill is just one of those Pokemon that looks cool and hits even harder. Something we had been missing until now is a ground rep, and I'd still like to see a new fighter a bit more on the heavy side. Which we've come closer to with Charizard, but still not quite as he's a flyer. And the Braixen, well, what's there left to say but So that leaves the water starter. Who could replace said water starter? Well, aside from the new additions and Hariyama, who still makes too much sense, everyone in the top row are confirmed. I still really want Toxicroak. People still think Hawlucha is a given. Scizor would be awesome. And everyone on the bottom row are confirmed except... I really don't want to do this. Shaman is my Pokken Lana. She's my pipe dream. But an iconic starter is much more likely than some mythical Gen 4 with a bunch of weaknesses. I still really want her, but she isn't exactly likely anymore. Well, we know the replacement, but who are we replacing her with? Well, I've thought long and hard about this, and my conclusion is... I don't freaking know! Blastoise is iconic, and while heavy, they could do a lot of movement with its shell. Feraligator's Feraligator. Swampert would make sense with his new Mega, and we already have the other 2/3 of the trio. And Polion would be another awesome one with his typing. Samurott is Samurott, and Greninja could get the Charizard pass, not forgetting to mention Pikachu, Mewtwo, and Lucario, with already being in Smash, and a new fan favorite after he got thrown into Ubers. He's the first starter to do so that didn't get a Mega. Any one of the 6 work here. So what are we gonna do, you ask? We're putting a big fat blue X for water variable where Shaman was. I can't believe I'm getting rid of my #1 want for a spot that I can't even decide on. But I guess I'm okay now that I have my magical little Firefox. God, I'm so happy. I can't believe my second favorite is in the game. Ah! I sincerely apologize for that. Anyway, not as aesthetically pleasing as my other one was due to the replacements, but I'll get over it. What's mostly important are the characters themselves. Okay, so this is after I recorded the video, but while looking for my old roster, I came across this, and it looks like my ideal roster design and size is confirmed? So far it's shaping up really nicely too, but time will tell how it'll really look once those last 9 spots are filled up. We already know 3 of them, though the fact that we say Libre Pikachu with her own position is concerning. Still holding out for that form switch button once the roster is full. Once again, only time will tell. Thank you so much for watching, and real quick for those that keep up with my other work and not just stopping by, because, ooh, Pokken! I'd like to apologize for disappearing again just before the Kirby 64 finale. My laptop got hit with malware, and while it's free now, I still can't access the internet with it until I get that taken care of. Since then, I've been using my grandmother's desktop. But fear not, very soon I want to move the files over here and get to work. So expect that sometime within the radius of a month at the most. Until then, I've been getting back into streaming now that I have a new Elgato, and very soon plan on having a Mario 64 Hatless / no long jump stream. This is something I did before that I'd be continuing, so if you want to, please drop by the description where a link to the highlights will be provided for you. The date is still finicky since I'm having difficulties getting said Elgato to work with my 64, but it will be soon. And because of my new capture card, I also have 2 new LPs planned after the finale, so stay tuned for that. Abrupt update and self-advertising aside, thank you for watching. Please leave your responses and ideas on the roster in the comments. I have been Seal64 and hope to see you again soon in the near future, but until then, I bid you adieu. Goodbye for now.